regardless, it was still thousands between them and is undoubtedly the closest finish in grid life history.
It might have been closer than 1,000.
It could have been. It could have been.
Let's have a look at our starting lineup because we're halfway through our second pace lap and we're about ready to go racing from this beautiful racetrack. And like we said, it is Matan Rosenberg in the 484 on that front row, alongside James Houghton in that Honda Civic Type R TCR that will start alongside him. There's those two drivers there, Matan and James, both experienced drivers in our paddock. And then in row 2, starting behind them, it'll be Christian Aranja, who's chasing Matan for the points lead. AJ Hartman in that number 24 EcoBoost powered Ford Mustang. Chris DeLucia and Peter Angepoglou start in 6th place. And it'll be Sean Bassett. And I saw Bob Kaiser out there as well. So here we go. It's time to go racing from GridLife GT as we come down the hill. Green flag, an early green this time, and they're going to have a long run down to 1. Here comes DeLucia with a push to Christian Aranja. Can they go 3 wide into 1 maybe?
Big push from that E36 down low, but Matan really stood up Houghton up high into turn number 1. Wanted to arc it in as high as possible. DeLucia able to get through there, still locking horns here into turn number 3. Who's going to get that nose out first?
Houghton's got the inside line here, but he's got to stay tough through turn 4 when the track loses its camber side by side. Through turn 4, he takes the lead for Rosenberg.
And we talked about it all day yesterday and this morning. This first lap so important for you to get clean air to the nose of the car early, get that good laps, and build as everybody battles further behind. That's exactly what Houghton needs right now, as more often than not, the guy who's to the stripe first at the end of lap 1, usually the guy that takes the checkered flag.
Great start from James Houghton to take this lead. It's very difficult to get back by once you've done just that, but that battle for second is going to be key because those are your championship leaders between Rosenberg and Christian Aranja. If we take a look at the weekend and the championship points here in a moment, you can see how tight things really are, but with Matan leading, a 6-point advantage on the season, and Rosenberg is now ahead of Aranja by, 15 on the weekend. So it's been a much better weekend for the Vibrant Performance car than the Jack Speed car.
You look at the main two over the course of the whole season, and it's usually been the 2 C5s, Aranja and Rosenberg, and Christian just hasn't really had the sauce this weekend for the front row, has overdriven it a little bit, and I think obviously Matan maybe a little bit more experience here. I think he's done a handful of races here previously, but Christian's still no doubt a threat for the overall season title here in GT.
Yeah, AJ Hartman let me know this morning that after a little bit of contact yesterday, it knocked the toe out in his car and he burned up one of the sets of his tires and had to run a slightly older set. But these are the, ooh, interesting. There is a meatball flag displayed to the race leader.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not exactly sure what for. I didn't have anything immediately that I could tell. I'm not sure if there's some smoke or something that they saw. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled on that. But I was going to point out AJ Hartman's having a nice run despite being on those older tires. Don't see anything up with.
Get a close look at the Type R here.
It's not dragging anything. I don't see anything.
Seen a little vibration on the front bumper, maybe loose fastener.
Maybe. Really get up close and personal. No.
Double check the meatball here. I'm not sure if they have the number board underneath, but
they do, but I can't see it from my angle.
Exactly.
And it looked like they pulled it once Houghton went by, but we'll watch again carefully out the window as we come down the hill. Here's second place, Rosenberg and Aranja. Oh, it's Rosenberg that it was for.
Wow.
And why is that?
Remember, it was a serpentine belt at Watkins Glen that affected the timing of the engine. That was no meatball flag needed. He went aside and parked it almost instantly.
So how does that affect the points now? If we bring those back up.
Big picture, not great.
With, I mean, again, it's drop races, right? So with Rosenberg down, Aranja now 305 points. Remember that because of the drop races, it's not going to be quite as straightforward, but that takes the points lead from 302 to 308 to 305 to 308. And he's going to lose more spots.
Watching from the tower right now, Vibrant Motorsport crew flip the gas can up. I'm not sure, or gas cap up. I'm not sure if that was the issue specifically.
Was he leaking fuel, maybe?
Ooh.
I don't know. That's just speculation on my part, but
got it out and running again.
Yeah, potentially. Wow. And there he goes out of the pit lane. So Rosenberg down in 8th place. What a frustrating situation for the championship leader.
Back left looking a little bit loose, I guess. Let's take a look again at the start here. It could have been the contact here, maybe a little bit of rubbing.
Oh, right there. You can't. Yes,
Ooh.
it is the fuel. Great pickup by Darius and the Project Prime crew to see that, but he was leaking fuel. I can't believe we didn't see that the first time. That was, what a heartbreaker for Rosenberg.
Has driven such a good weekend at this point. I'm curious how that actually happened.
Yeah.
But the boulder rolling back to the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, so it looks like it's all sorted now. On the race starts, your eyes are looking everywhere, Jackson, so I didn't catch that. Those in the chat did. But he's back on the road, and it's going to cost him some points, and the gap now to Aranja in the championship, just 3 points. As we focus our attention back up front, here comes James Houghton. He's got Christian Aranja behind him, and now we'll watch that gap.
That's the issue with how short this track is, right? Even just a quick pit stop in and out. And if you look in your rearview mirror, you see your leaders getting back behind you. But if you're Rosenberg right now, you gotta just focus on what's in front of you, right? Put down solid laps. Pray that something else happens on track that would justify a safety car. Know that you've still got a good race car and can still get yourself back onto the podium if you're able to group it back up. But whatever you do, do not overdrive the car. Don't let one mistake get into your head and cause you to overdrive and end up in the wall.
Yeah, that was a full lap that he lost in that process as well. We'll keep our eyes on the leaders, though. 1.1 seconds between Houghton and Aranja. And Christian might be making up a little bit of time, at least visually to me. We'll see if that translates to time on the scoreboard.
This car is just so scary in clean air, and I caught up with James briefly, last night just to ask, any tweaks to suspension or anything. Rolled off the car on Thursday for testing and knew he had a winner pretty much off the bat. I think a couple of slight tweaks, but didn't need much. And of course, the minute I say that, Aranja goes purple.
I told you, it was only 3/10 of it. When you've been doing this as long as I have, Jackson, those little 3/10 gains, you can see
You feel it. You feel it.
Yeah.
It's like a Midwesterner knowing rain. Oh, God.
Yeah, a little slip up for Houghton there, too. He struggled in the early parts of the races to build tire temperature in the rear, and also probably running quite a bit of toe in the rear to get the thing to rotate. And here's a little battle deeper in the field. This is for 6th, Sean Bassett and Bob Kaiser. 2 very different cars between these two.
Nissan swap, V8 motor underneath that kind of GT500 inspired body kit. As Kaiser looking to the inside, and mentioned it a little bit earlier, a Boss 302, not a common rendition of this Mustang, one that a lot of purists might be clutching the pearls a little bit. But man, how cool it is to see a track meant version out here at Lime Rock Park and going wheel to wheel with some of the best in the country.
Yeah, that V8 you mentioned in Sean Bassett's Nissan, sort of an interesting choice for this build because it's not an engine you see very much, at least here in Grid Life. It's a VK56. It's a 5.6 liter V8 that was originally built for the Nissan Titan, Armada, and Infiniti QX56. Now, if I'm correct, and I might get corrected here in the chat, I believe that there is the LMP2 or LMP3 engine is based off that engine as well.
I think that's Nissan badge on it, but it's Gibson engineered.
Yes, but I think it's based on the same
Could be.
block. I believe that that's the case. I'm sure I'll get corrected, maybe going a little bit beyond my knowledge there, but I recall that being a factoid that the engines used in some of these IMSA prototypes are basically built off the Nissan Titan V8.
And I totally get the approach, right? If you're Sean Bassett, you see especially what a lot of these guys are doing.
It's LMP3.
There you go.
Jamie Santos checking that for me. Thanks, Jamie. The VK56 and VK50. So, hey, I was right.
But look, you see what a lot of these guys have done with some of the more utilitarian-based engines, if you will. I mean, the J Series Hondas in the S2000s, we've seen a lot more, so it's kind of a no-brainer as these two continue to go at it. Wow. Oh, big wiggle at the top of the hill. Dude, Rosenberg's going to catch these guys. Finishing my point, if you're catching up with us just now for this season, this motor, unfortunately, not really been what Sean's really wanted it to be. Not necessarily an issue with the motor itself, but it's been battling a lot of oil issues specifically, had a handful of leaks. And obviously, Bassett's full-time focus this year has been getting his 240Z, Big Booty Judy, out to Pikes Peak, ran the hill climb this year, and took the GT500 350 out to Seems Legit Garage, hoping they could fix it. A little bit of teething issues earlier on, but looking fast, looking competitive, going wheel to wheel right now with the 302.
Yeah, we're going to run into some lap traffic here. Houghton and Aranja will, which could change the math just a little bit. And Matan was catching Bassett and Kaiser there, but I think he's actually lost a little more. He must be down a lap at least, but there he is, 94 miles an hour at the crest, and he's gotten by these two. Look at this, Bassett and Kaiser. Fun fight, but the leaders are quickly approaching. See the difference in the average speed between Houghton and Aranja, 98.2 and 98.3. That's how close they are over the course of a mile and a half.
So we talked about it a little bit earlier, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Arana's still rowing gears, unless he's on it. He is. So would we imagine if it's 90 miles an hour, you get the feeling,
Kaiser into turn one. That was a lunge. Took a look at Sean Bassett, and Houghton's got to sit back here. This is going to burn up a lot of his advantage to Christian Aranja.
Well, these two again are in a battle of their own, but they're both actually going to go offline. They'll stay offline and let Christian go through. This is going to get interesting.
Yeah, it definitely helped Christian a little bit at first. That's going to hold him up there a little bit, though, so he might have lost some advantage that he gained. Bassett's off in the weeds there for a moment. But they'll resume their fight behind the race leaders now. So everything he gained, I think he lost right back and almost lost it at the top of the hill there.
Would probably imagine, though, that Arana's very similar on his approach to Eric Magnussen, more than likely on a single speed here. I really hope that Chris doesn't wrap this car again, because the burn marks on the hood adds a sense of swag to that E36 that you don't get from a lot of other reasons.
For those that missed our event at Midwest Festival a couple of months ago, Chris DeLucia had a quick disconnect line fail on his fuel lines, and it covered the engine bay in fuel, and it lit on fire and got fire into the cockpit. And it was a pretty dramatic video of DeLucia having to jump out of the car while it was still rolling. And he was okay, and he rebuilt the car in just a couple of weeks to make Watkins Glen. But repaired a lot of the engine bay and all the wiring and patched up some tiny little holes in the firewall. He made a great video documenting all the things that he wished he had done better to avoid getting in this situation again. But he's left the bodywork with its sort of crisped up exterior, sort of the scars of that incident, as a reminder to everyone to double check all your connections and fittings and make sure your firewalls are fireproof.
Been a #1 adversary now in the paddock to say that if it is going on your body, it should be fireproof.
Yep.
But man, you rewind to Watkins Glen, they didn't really think that that car was going to be able to make it in time, and it took a big effort from a lot of the KTM guys flying out from California in the final week to do some last-minute prep, and that car was only running and really ready to go maybe 2 hours before they really had to leave for testing Thursday before Watkins Glen, but got a podium in its first race back, race #1 at Summer Apex, and has snagged one more actually in race #2. Could potentially fight for another one here if he's able to close that gap to Hartman.
James Houghton leads over Christian Aranja still. It's 1.2. Don't know that Aranja's making big inroads here. But this is going to set up for a really fun race 4, because we will have a field invert of a random number that if James Houghton wins, he will get to roll, and he will not start on pole. They will not let you roll a 1. So we're going to have a race 4 with someone other than James Houghton and Matan Rosenberg leading. So that's going to really mix things up as Christian Aranja drops a little bit. But remember, the points picture is still 308 to 305, just 3 points between Christian Aranja and Matan Rosenberg going into the last race of the weekend. And again, I believe that Rosenberg is planning on doing Laguna Seca, but if not,
I would imagine your top 3 expect to. For sure, both Corvettes, they have to.
Yeah.
They got nowhere to hide, and a lot of these guys, they've got almost perfect attendance, and maybe a couple of issues. Arana had a few at Road Atlanta. He was able to burn some of his reserves, some of his drop rounds, and then unfortunately Matan had a handful of mechanicals at Watkins Glen, so both of them are pretty much dead even. That sort of forces the issue, so both of them should be packing the trailers up in September. Big moment a little bit further back as the white flag flies.
Last lap of the race for GRIDLIFE GT here. And Arana gained a little bit on Houghton, but just not quite enough. And AJ Hartman sitting in a good spot for a 3rd in the next mile and a half. There's that 57, closing in slightly on that K-Tune Honda Civic Type R TCR. If you're unfamiliar with that K-Tune car out front, that is a TCR spec machine. Now it's seen a little bit of changes in the hands of James Houghton and crew. A little bit of extra fender width, would you believe it? to handle these street tires, these Spec Toyo Proxys R that we run here in this championship. But Jackson, he's put it to good use.
Yeah, again, main adversary to a lot of the guys, only a part-time entry this season, but whenever he rolls into town, he has been scary.
Here comes James Houghton. It's a second win of the weekend for the number 41 Honda Civic Type R TCR. And K-Tunes back on top over Christian Aranja and AJ Hartman. A victory lap now, and that was a calmer race. We've had a moment to reset after the excitement of the GLTC event, but we're far from over. We still have 3 races left to go, plus more time attack, plus drift.
We knew it earlier on, right? Once you get clean air to that TCR, it is going to be competitive. And unfortunately, the main guy who was really able to bring that fight was spraying fuel all over the windshield of the enemy.
Yeah.
So
that was the big story from this race as we take a look at our results. James Houghton on top, but Matan Rosenberg, who started up in the front, lost the lead on the opening lap, but then was meatball flagged for a fuel leak. Now, I don't know if there was contact with James in that opening turn, but if there was, that might have been what dislodged the fuel cap, and it made him come to pit lane. They had to fix that leaking fluid, can't do it, so he will finish in 8th place behind Houghton, Aranja, Hartman, DeLucia, the Autosport Fab 288, then Bob Kaiser, Sean Bassett, and of course Matan in 8th place there. As we have a look at the highlights from this race as well. Pretty exciting, a little bit of drama there between Sean Bassett and Bob Kaiser. They had a little good fight, but look at the start. Chris DeLucia with that epic launch. That thing is just like a rocket ship in a straight line, and just didn't quite have enough of a radius to make that first turn at the speed they were carrying.
Yep, good play, and then wait for it. There it is, just a little bit of spray coming out of the port side of that C5. Hit the windshield of the TCR, and they were able to pick that up fairly quickly, give the meatball over, and that immediately gave P2 back over to the banana-colored C5 as Rosie dived on into pit lane.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for him for sure, and you got to feel for him, especially when it's something that, you know, really wasn't related to the performance of the car. But then after that, it was just James Houghton driving away from Aranja, and made it look almost easy for a while, working their way through lap traffic. Kaiser and Bassett having a fun fight, couple V8 cars going at it. Talked about the VK56 under the hood of that 350. But once they had passed the traffic, then it was just all up to Christian Aranja to try to reel in that 41, but it wasn't to be. Look at this moment here over the crest of the hill, really pushing the limits of what's possible.
Did it a handful of times in race number 2. That's how he had a big excursion in turn number 3. Ultimately just couldn't make it happen. And it would be James Houghton walking away as your race 3 winner.
That's it. GRIDLIFE GT Race 3 is complete. 3 more races left today from GRIDLIFE Circuit Legends. Time Attack and Drift coming up.